Aside from getting bin Laden, what would you say is President Obama's greatest foreign policy success? Aside from getting bin Laden, I'm going to take away the easy one.
Well, you'd have to give me some examples because I'm trying to think about what there. I mean, there are. I'm trying to.
What about the?
There's some. Look, like not everything in the world has happened bad.
If you had picked Wisconsin, you wouldn't have gotten that kind of.
Right. Yeah. There are some.
What about the pivot to Asia?
Well, the pivot to Asia is a one. I don't think you announce a pivot to Asia. I don't think the word pivot says we're leaving one place to go to another. Now, think about the people who are living in the place you're leaving. All right, what do they think about that? The place we're leaving is what? The Middle East? We're leaving the Middle East? Really? With what's going on there? We're not going to try and be involved and shape and stand with our friends there? What does that say to them? I mean, it's a terrible term to use. To say we're going to pay more attention or we're going to devote more resources to Asia, or that we're going to be more involved in Asia, working with our friends there, sharing leadership with those that care about free enterprise and human rights. Those things make sense. By the way, saying that we're going to have an aircraft carrier there, we're going to have enough aircraft carriers in our Navy to be able to maintain our Bretton Woods commitments, to keep the sea lanes of the world open. Those kinds of things you say. Mm-hmm. But to say pivot, no, I'm not going to suggest that as a foreign
the climate change deal with China, would that count?
You know,
I'm trying there.
Yeah,
I'm trying to give you...
you know, I'm afraid that was a window dressing kind of deal. Maybe the next effort at climate change will have more significance. And the reason I say that, it strikes me that the climate is changing. I don't know how much of that is due to human involvement. But I know that if we try and reduce the use of fossil fuels, that'll be good for pollution at least, and hopefully for the climate as well, and the change in climate. But the United States can't do that alone. They call it global warming, not America warming. And so anything in this regard has to be done on a global basis. And so if the president reaches out to try and do things on a global basis, that, in my opinion, is the right way to go, as opposed to saying we as the United States are going to get everybody to drive a Prius. I like the Prius. It's a great thing, but it's not going to change the temperature of the planet. I mean, China emits this much CO2. We emit that much. China's growth in CO2 emissions over the next couple of decades takes them up to there. I mean, the United States is not the issue going forward, nor is Europe. It's the developing nations, which, as they develop and get more automobiles and air conditioning and so forth, are going to dramatically drive up the CO2 emissions in the world. And they say, hey, yeah, but on a per capita basis, you're putting out way more than we are. And they're right. How to make this work is a real challenge. So if the president takes this on and is successful, I'll call it an achievement. But
yeah, that doesn't count.
You're not there yet. Keep trying.
I'm guessing the Cuba deal isn't going to...
No.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, with Cuba, I mean, we've long had legislation that said that we will normalize relations with Cuba when they free their political prisoners and when they open up to a form of democracy. And the president said, well, no, we'll just normalize them, even though they haven't done those things. It's like, it's very easy to retreat. I mean, I don't know that there's a red line the president will retreat from. And I just think it's important to show that we have resolve, that we stand for certain things, and that we want to see those political prisoners released before we do certain things. And that once again communicates something which I think is...
I'll take two more swings, and then we'll have to move on. What about TTIP? Or the Asia trade deal, which we don't have yet, but if we get it,
if we had it, that would be good.
Okay.
By the way, I agree with the president. I agree with the president in looking for trade promotion authority for that agreement and others. And Republicans and some Democrats agree with the president that he should be given trade promotion authority. I think the president of the United States should be able to encourage trade and trade deals with other nations, which ultimately will then be voted up or down by Congress. And I say that because while it is counterintuitive, virtually anybody who takes a very close look at it and is unbiased will say that trade with other nations increases the well-being and prosperity of people in both of those nations. That's if it's done right. And people don't cheat and they don't take advantage of one another. But so I encourage open trade in part because I think America will win and it'll be better for our working men and women. So the president's been fighting for that. I give him credit for that.
My best.
You got one, kind of.
Ebola response, maybe.
He made some. I mean, the administration obviously stepped on its toes badly with regards to bringing back an Ebola patient in the United States and not having in place the kind of protocols that should have been in place. You would have expected the CDC to be at the hospital, calling the shots, telling people what to do, laying out a protocol. When the CDC said, "Oh, the hospital didn't, follow the protocol they should have," it's like, what protocol? You didn't give them one. So that can't be seen as a great accomplishment.
Okay,
but sending support to the nations that had Ebola and trying to provide humanitarian aid was a good thing.
Okay, and
You want to keep trying?
No. You told me backstage, but I'm not sure you said it up here. What was his bracket? How did his bracket do?
He didn't pick Duke. Let's put it that way. Yeah.